They call him the king of pop, but who could have guessed that decades after his death, even a single sock he wore would become a global obsession? A sock, covered in rhinestones, slightly yellowed and stained with age, sold for over $8,000 at an auction in France. And yet, for millions of fans, that sock wasn't just fabric. It was history. It was magic. It was Michael. But how did something so small, so ordinary, become one of the most talked about relics in pop culture? Let's rewind. It happened quietly in the city of Nîmes, France. A local auction house known mostly for selling rare vinyls and concert posters suddenly had the attention of the world. On display, a single white athletic sock embroidered with tiny rhinestones that once shimmered beneath stage lights back in 1997. The auctioneer, Aurore Illy, called it a cult object. Bidders from the US, Japan, and Brazil all fought for it online. When the final gavel hit, 7,688 euros, the room gasped. The sock had just sold for nearly double its estimate. And here's the kicker. This wasn't found in some vault or museum. A technician had discovered it tossed near Jackson's dressing room after his concert in Nîmes during the HI Story World Tour. He probably thought it was just a forgotten piece of laundry. He had no idea it would one day be worth a small fortune. But to understand why people are still willing to pay thousands for a single worn-out sock, you have to go back to the man who made even the simplest things look like they belonged to another world. Imagine this. It's July 1997. The air in southern France is thick with heat and excitement. Tens of thousands of people are packed into the stadium, holding their breath. Then, the lights drop. Smoke fills the stage. A single figure appears, frozen, motionless. For what feels like forever, the crowd just screams. And then, boom! The first beat drops. Billie Jean. He spins, he slides, he glides. Every move is sharp, electric. Every step lights up the stage. And there, gleaming beneath the spotlight, are those rhinestone-covered socks. Michael had turned an ordinary piece of clothing into a signature, a statement of perfection. When he hit the moonwalk, that sock became part of pop culture forever. What the audience didn't know that night was that somewhere backstage, one of those socks would later vanish, only to reappear nearly 30 years later as a collector's dream. Now, you might be thinking, it's just a sock. But for Michael Jackson's fans, nothing about him was just. He didn't just sing. He transformed. He didn't just dance. He defied gravity. So when fans see a piece of him, even something tiny, they see a connection, a spark of the magic they grew up with. And make no mistake, this isn't new. His gloves sold for $350,000 in Macau. His hat, the one he wore before performing his first moonwalk in 1983, sold for more than $80,000. Even handwritten notes, stage costumes, and locks of his hair have fetched small fortunes. Why? Because every item holds a story, a frozen moment in time when the world stopped and stared at a man who redefined entertainment. But what keeps his legacy alive isn't just admiration. It's also the tension, the mystery that still surrounds his name. See, here's where it gets complicated. For all his brilliance, Michael's life was never free of controversy. Decades after his death, rumors and accusations still swirl, ones that his estate and supporters have always denied. And yet, that very mix of light and shadow has made him even more mythical. People aren't just collecting his memorabilia, they're holding on to a piece of a legend who seemed too big, too perfect, too misunderstood to exist. The $8,000 sock isn't just an accessory. It's a symbol of genius, of tragedy, of the blurred line between man and myth. Because in the end, fans don't just want to remember Michael Jackson. They want to understand him, and maybe through his things, get a little closer to that unreachable brilliance. Think about it. Every era of Michael's career had an artifact. The glove, from his moonwalk debut. The hat, from his smooth criminal lean. And now, the sock, from his HI Story tour, the final era before everything changed. Each piece is a portal, a tangible reminder of an artist who gave everything to his craft. Those who saw him perform live say there was nothing like it. He wasn't just performing, He was possessed by rhythm, by energy, by perfection. Even his smallest movements, a finger snap, a head tilt, could drive a crowd into madness. So when that rhinestone sock appeared under the auction lights again, it wasn't just an item. It was like resurrecting a piece of that performance. Now here's the real question. Why, after all these years, does it still matter? Because in a world obsessed with the next big thing, Michael Jackson remains untouchable. His music videos still get millions of views every month. Kids who weren't even born when he died still try to imitate his dance moves. And every time a piece of his past surfaces, it reminds the world that legends don't die, they just echo. That sock isn't just a collectible. It's a conversation. It makes people remember where they were when they first heard Thriller or saw Smooth Criminal or witnessed that moonwalk for the first time. It's nostalgia wrapped in rhinestones. Let's be honest, if any other artist's sock went up for sale, it'd barely get a bid. But this one? It carried the weight of an entire generation's emotions. It's stained, it's old, and some of the rhinestones have yellowed. But that's exactly what makes it real. It's not about perfection, it's about connection. Because every scuff and scratch on that sock tells a story. The rehearsals, the pressure, the exhaustion, the roar of the crowd. And for the fan that bought it, that story was worth $8,000. But maybe it was worth even more. Michael Jackson's life ended in 2009 when he was just 50 years old. It was a shocking loss, one that left fans stunned across the world. But even after his passing, his art continues to inspire. Every dance challenge, every impersonator, every sold-out musical tribute, it all traces back to him. He changed not just music, but how people felt music. He didn't chase trends, he created them. And now, with every auction, every rediscovered artifact from gloves to hats to socks, the story continues. Because in a strange, beautiful way, Michael Jackson never really left. He's still here. In the rhythm, in the light, in the glitter of a single sock that once moved with him on stage. When you think about it, the sock isn't what's valuable. It's what it represents. A man who pushed boundaries, defied expectations, and changed the world of entertainment forever. People buy these relics not to own a piece of fabric, but to feel closer to a moment. A moment when everything felt larger than life. When a man in a fedora, a single glove, and a sparkling sock made time stop. So maybe that's the real story behind the $8,000 sock. It's not about fame or money or memorabilia. It's about how even the smallest trace of greatness can remind us of what it means to dream, to perform, to shine. Because legends don't die, they just live on, in the things they leave behind. And somewhere out there right now, one glittering sock sits behind glass, reminding the world that once upon a time, one man made the entire planet believe in magic.